Behind the glitz and glamour of the K-pop industry, idols often carry heartbreaking stories that the world never sees. While fans celebrate their fame, the devastating truths behind their popularity often remain in the shadows, and it's time to finally break them down. A perfect example of an idol with a heart-wrenching story is Yena, formerly a member of IZ*ONE. While many fans and netizens know her for her energetic stage presence, playful charm, and bright smile, only a few really understand the kind of pain she had to survive just to make it to the industry in the first place. As a child, Yena was diagnosed with lymphoma, a form of terminal illness that affects the lymphatic system. The condition was so severe that doctors reportedly told her family there was no hope. Her parents were devastated, both emotionally and financially. The cost of the treatment she had to undergo was overwhelming, and with nowhere else to turn to, they began waking up at the crack of dawn every day to sell kimbap on the streets, anything to cover the hospital bills for their little girl. As an adult, Yena thought back to these moments, wishing to one day send her parents on the honeymoon they never got to take because they spent those years saving her instead. Yena revisited the memories of her painful childhood in front of tons of cameras on IZ*ONE's reality show. She brought homemade kimbap to her parents, not just as a sweet gesture, but as a powerful reminder of everything they had endured together. This turned out to be an incredibly emotional moment that left both of her parents visibly moved, realizing that their daughter hadn't forgotten a single detail of the darkest chapter in their lives. Yena has often called her debut a miracle, and it's had to disagree. To go from a childhood fully spent in hospital rooms with no guarantee of tomorrow to standing on big stages as one of K-pop's rising stars. It's the kind of story that feels too unreal to be true. But it is true, and that's exactly why her fans, known as Jigumi, donated over $6,500 to the Korea Leukemia and Pediatric Cancer Association in her name, turning her survival into a source of hope for others. Not only did Yena battle a life-threatening illness as a child, but her fight was made even harder by the extreme financial hardship her family faced at the same time. The story of her parents waking up before sunrise to sell kimbap just to afford her hospital bills was only one glimpse into a much deeper struggle that followed Yena well into her teenage years. Even after overcoming her illness, money remained a constant problem, one that continued to shape her life in quiet but painful ways. Yena confessed that during her trainee days, she used to pass by a 24-hour barbecue restaurant near her practice building, drawn in by the smell of grilled meat, but unable to afford even a single meal. At the time, a simple meal cost around $10, something completely out of reach for her. So she promised herself that when she debuted, she'd return and eat until she was full. That kind of dream, just being able to eat a proper meal, is something most people take for granted, but for Yena, it symbolized how difficult those years truly were. During her childhood and teenage years, her family struggled a lot. Growing up, they moved houses often, and each time their living space got smaller. At one point, things got so bad that she couldn't even afford to refill her bus card. Yena carried a lot of pressure with her, as she was a child who had already cost her parents more than most children ever would. She was aware of how much her treatment had drained her family, and even at a young age, she internalized the guilt, deciding that she had to become stronger for them. With the money she made as an artist and as a freelancer, she repaid her parents' debt little by little, showing that she never forgot where she came from. Despite the heavy weight of her childhood, marked by illness and poverty, Yena managed to become a star. From June to August of 2018, she represented Yuhua Entertainment on the survival show Produce 48, competing alongside other trainees, including future Everglow members Kim Xion and Wang Yiren. It was a high-stakes, exhausting environment where only the strongest talent stood a chance, but Yena didn't just survive, she stood out. Finishing in 4th place, she secured her debut as a member of the temporary but massively successful group IZ*ONE. What made Yena so alluring wasn't just her vocals or her personality, but the fact that she constantly broke the mold of what a typical girl group idol was supposed to be. Behind her bright image was an artist with real multidimensional talent, especially in dance. Unlike many idols who simply learned the choreography, Yena brought her own creative edge into every performance. Having studied contemporary dance in high school, she developed an exceptional sense of rhythm, flexibility, and body control that set her apart from the very beginning. Her whacking performance on Produce 48, a style known for its expressive rhythmic arm movements and deep roots in queer Black and Latin club culture, left both judges and fans stunned. In the years that followed, Yena promoted with IZ*ONE, which became one of the most popular groups to come out of a survival show in K-pop history. Unfortunately, the group was only temporary and was forced to disband after their 2.5-year contract came to an end. Fans were absolutely devastated, still holding hope for a contract renewal, which unfortunately never came. In interviews post-disbandment, Yena made it very clear that she also misses her former members. During an appearance on Don't Forget Your Breakfast Too, while promoting her 2024 comeback EP Good Morning, Yena opened up about how close the IZ*ONE girls still are. She revealed that but they still keep a group chat alive filled with messages, updates, and, as she proudly admitted, plenty of selfies, most of them sent by her. As it turns out, Yena is the most active member in the chat, regularly dropping pictures with the cheeky explanation that the girls might be missing her. It doesn't stop there, though. She also shared that they often gather at her apartment in Gangnam, where they rewatch old IZ*ONE videos together and reminisce about the moments that once defined their youth. For fans, it was deeply comforting to know that despite the disbandment and their separate paths, the strong bond they formed is still very much intact. After IZ*ONE disbanded, Yena was the second member of the group to launch a solo career, and at first, everything seemed to be going perfectly. Her debut was met with excitement from fans and critics alike. Her music was fresh and full of energy, and her upbeat, positive concepts quickly became her signature style. Unfortunately, her popularity came to a sudden halt when she and her team made a decision that left many fans confused and disappointed. It all started with Yena's admiration for American singer Olivia Rodrigo. She had openly expressed being a huge fan of Olivia, even drawing inspiration from her music in the past. For instance, she released a song titled "Luck to You," a track many believed was heavily inspired by Olivia's hit "Good For You." Most thought it was just a sweet tribute to Olivia, and some even hoped the two would have a wholesome interaction at some point. However, the situation took a strange turn when Yena revealed her plans for her June 2023 comeback. She announced her new album would be called Hate XX, but what really raised eyebrows was the title track, which was named Hate Rodrigo. The public was taken aback by this odd title choice, as fans couldn't figure out whether this was shade or an ironic twist on admiration for Olivia Rodrigo. No one quite understood what was happening, but the reaction online was overwhelmingly negative. Using another global artist's real name, especially one as high profile as Olivia Rodrigo, in the title of a K-pop song came off as confusing at best and inappropriate at worst. As soon as the music video teaser dropped, things went from questionable to downright uncomfortable. The visual similarities between Yena's concept and Olivia Rodrigo's aesthetic were suddenly impossible to ignore. From the styling to the overall vibe, it all felt a little too familiar. In one particular scene, the teaser appeared to show a glimpse of Olivia Rodrigo's actual Sour album cover, and it didn't end there. Other parts of the teaser mirrored scenes from Olivia's Deja Vu music video, most obviously the shot of Yena stopping her car and eating ice cream, almost identical to the opening scene in Olivia's video. Netizens began to speak out, pointing out that it no longer felt like a tribute. It felt like Yena's team had taken an entire concept down to the tiniest detail and tried to pass it off as original. Using Olivia's name in the title, showing her album cover in the teaser, and recreating iconic visuals from her music videos all in one comeback felt less like inspiration and more like theft. To many, it looked like an attempt to borrow Olivia's identity while disguising it as fan admiration, hoping the homage label would protect them from backlash. At this point, no one had even heard the full song yet, but the damage had already been done. When the song finally dropped, the backlash didn't calm down. It actually only got worse. If fans had hoped that the full release would clarify the confusing message or redeem the teaser's controversy, they were quickly proven wrong. The music video was packed with direct references to Olivia Rodrigo, posters of Olivia were seen hanging in Yena's room, her face appeared on computer screens, and even the editing and color grading closely mimicked the visual style of Olivia's Sour era. Even the lyrics mentioned Olivia, a fact that to many viewers didn't sit right. Yena and her team eventually addressed the controversy. On June 24th, she appeared on the YouTube variety show The K-Star Next Door, where she candidly spoke about the backlash. She explained that the song was meant to be playful, expressing feelings of envy and admiration for someone who shines so much that it's impossible not to feel a little jealous. She emphasized that she actually loves Olivia Rodrigo and used the phrase "I hate her" on purpose to reflect that kind of joking frustration we sometimes feel toward people who seem perfect. Her agency also released a statement backing this explanation, saying the song was meant to convey cute jealousy towards successful people, particularly someone like Olivia whom Yena deeply admires. But even with the clarifications, fans were still not having it. Just when things couldn't seem to get more chaotic, the situation took another unexpected turn. On June 29th, fans suddenly realized that the Hate Rodrigo music video had completely vanished from YouTube. Without warning or explanation, the video was set to private, sparking even more confusion and concern. At first, many assumed that the decision was linked to the backlash. It seemed plausible that Yena's team had seen the growing criticism and realized the controversy wasn't going to quiet down anytime soon. Fans guessed that the company might be trying to pull back and avoid further damage quietly. However, reports soon revealed that the music video had been taken down due to copyright issues. Certain scenes in the video apparently triggered legal concerns, likely due to how closely they resembled or outright copied protected material. While the company insisted that the decision wasn't directly related to the song's title or the backlash surrounding it, the timing and circumstances were enough to cast doubt in the eyes of the public. dramatic. Rumors were going around that Olivia Rodrigo's team requested Yena to remove the video, but these allegations were turned down by Yua Entertainment. In the end, the entire Hate Rodrigo situation was a complete mess. On one side, some fans pointed the finger directly at Yena. Since she had been personally involved in writing and composing the song, many felt that she should have known better. They argued that if fans are going to praise her for her creative involvement, then she should also be held accountable when things go wrong. On the other side, netizens placed the blame entirely on Yua Entertainment, arguing that Yena as an artist likely trusted that her company had secured the proper permissions and managed all legal aspects before using Olivia Rodrigo's name and concept so directly. Ultimately, Yena continued her solo career without too many issues, but it seems like the chaos caused by this incident will quietly haunt her for years to come. Share your opinions down below in the comment section, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more K-pop stories. But being misunderstood doesn't stop at soloists, as some of the biggest idols in the world feel it too. In today's video, we will uncover the truth behind Lisa's seemingly perfect life and all of the challenges she had to face to get where she is right now. From her living in a dorm infected with roaches to getting $1 million stolen from her and facing threats that could ruin her life. This is a story about one of the most successful female idols in K-pop history, the chosen one. Before we get into the real truth about Lisa's life, let's talk about her beginnings for a bit because they are straight up magical. Prior to our Thai princess being known as Lisa, her birth name used to be Prompriya. She later went to a fortune teller who suggested she changed her name to Lalisa, which means praised. Apparently, this change would bring Lisa a lot of prosperity and success. Knowing where she is right now, it seems like it worked more than well. As an only child, Lisa was raised in Thailand by her Thai mother and her Swiss stepfather. A fun fact about her stepfather is that he's actually a renowned chef. Lisa had started her dancing classes when she was just 4 years old and competed in various dancing competitions all throughout her childhood. All of her hard work and time put into dancing paid off once Lisa auditioned for YG Entertainment in 2010. No one knew that even though this decision would send a lot of fortune her way, Lisa would also have to face some terrible things later in life. She was only 13 years old when she auditioned, and amongst 4,000 applicants, she was the only one that got in. She actually ranked first in the competition and landed herself in a spot in YG Entertainment. She became the label's first non-ethically Korean trainee in 2011. When Lisa began her trainee period, it seems like a whole new world opened up in front of her. Although Lisa was just a trainee at the time, her talent and charisma was absolutely off the charts, and she appeared in different music videos and as a backup dancer for other YG artists. But Lisa's life would change pretty quick. Tough beginnings. Lisa became a trainee when she was 14 years old. When she moved to Seoul, she was basically still a child. Korean wasn't her native language, so we can only imagine how difficult it had to be for her to adapt. At first, Lisa was as happy as one could be because she was about to start chasing her dreams, but that would soon fade away as she spent more and more time away from her parents and her home country. Lisa shared that the first 3 months were the worst. She had often felt overwhelmed and homesickness, and she called her mom many times and simply cried during the whole call. Since Lisa didn't know the Korean language that well, she had to face big challenges while talking to people. Not only that, but the young girl also had troubles understanding the people around her, which only made her beginnings harder. What absolutely breaks my heart is the fact that other trainees weren't allowed to speak English to Lisa because YG wanted her to improve as quickly as possible. The miserable times passed eventually, and it was all because of the other members of Blackpink, which eventually became Lisa's second family. Even though Lisa gained love and support from her now best friends, her trainee days just got more and more challenging. At their old dorm, Lisa became a knight in shining armor. In the Blackpink YouTube show 24/365 with Blackpink, the girls revealed the incredibly poor conditions they had to live in before they debuted. Since the members didn't have a lot of money, their living conditions were far from ideal. Their door once got infected with insects and cockroaches, and it was Lisa who was brave enough to kill these bugs and get rid of them. Despite Lisa adapting her life in Korea and overcoming some of the challenges, her life still wasn't like the one in fairy tales. When Lisa was a guest on the show Youth with You 3, a vocal mentor asked everyone what they were doing when they were 18 years old. And Lisa's answer shocked everyone. Without filter, Lisa answered the question honestly, saying that she was stuck in the basement of the company. And no, it wasn't because she was held hostage. It was all because she was practicing to become her perfect self so she could debut with Blackpink. The endless circle of practicing, rehearsals, and evaluations put a lot of doubt in Lisa, and she started to question herself and her capabilities. Knowing that her future was unclear at that time was what Lisa found the most difficult. She didn't know when exactly she was going to debut, and it got so bad that Lisa wondered if she should just go back to school in Thailand. But Lisa stayed determined and practiced even harder, giving it her absolute all. After 5 years of not knowing if she would ever debut, the day finally came and Blackpink was introduced to the world. Yet, even if Lisa now had what she so badly wanted, some dark moments were waiting for this precious angel. The dark side of fame. Blackpink seemingly skyrocketed towards fame, and they quickly became one of the most popular girl groups in South Korea. Slowly, their fame and influence started to slip into other countries as well, until the girls became a global phenomenon. Naturally, Blackpink had received a lot of love from millions of people, and with love comes hate. It seemed like Lisa couldn't catch a break. Although the love outweighed the hate, some people still had incredibly nasty things to say about her. Ever since their debut, remarks were made about her ethnicity and nationality. A lot of people couldn't process that Lisa wasn't Korean. She wasn't considered to be the Korean standard, and people couldn't stop being mean to her. It got so bad that another idol had to speak about the hate Lisa was receiving, and it was none other than the Thai prince, GOT7's Bam Bam. He's known Lisa for years, way before they both debuted, so it was heartwarming to see him stand up for his friend. The hate started when Blackpink appeared at the 33rd Golden Disc Awards. Lisa was then a target of hurtful comments as people shamed her visuals and her background. One person wrote, "With makeup on, she totally looks like a Russian elf, but with darker hair and no makeup, she looks like any average Thai woman." It was just one comment in the sea of many, and it understandably angered Lisa's fans. When asked about it, Bam Bam went on to explain that it's unfortunately normal for Thai idols to face similar hate, and that he himself had to go through that too, which is just heartbreaking to think about. These comments came especially from Korean netizens. Looks like it's hard for them to understand that a foreigner can become one of the most successful entertainers in Korea, and they hate to see it. To add fuel to the fire, it's not only random accounts on the internet who seem to hold something against Lisa. Blinks have noticed that ever since Blackpink's debut, Lisa has also been given the worst outfits out of all of them. Seriously, some of the things she wore were questionable. People speculate that this is because the company simply prefers other members, and some people blame it on just bad coincidences. Whatever it is, we cannot deny that this has been happening for years now, and something should be done about it. As life goes on, oftentimes the one that hurts you the most are the people closest to you, and Lisa definitely has to say something about this. Life gave her a taste of what it's like to be betrayed by someone you trust. In 2020, Lisa had to deal with what could be considered a real nightmare. Her now ex-manager, who had a close relationship with the band since 2016, did Lisa dirty in the worst way possible. The former manager scammed the singer out of $820,000. He took advantage of Lisa's trust and used the money for his own benefit once she asked him to invest her money in real estate, and that's far from all. 2020 was actually the year when things seemed to spiral down for Lisa. Just a few months prior to the scandal with her manager, Lisa became a target of hurtful threats by an account on Twitter. The situation became so concerning that Blinks even contacted Thai embassy in Seoul to take protective measures. The person targeted Lisa and claimed that as soon as Blackpink made their comeback, they will physically harm Lisa no matter what. This caused a lot of disturbance in the fandom, and Blinks became rightfully scared for the singer's well-being. What also angered them is that the company was the last one to know someone was putting Lisa in danger. It was the embassy who had to contact the company. Thankfully, no physical harm was done to Lisa, but surely it had to leave the Thai princess pretty traumatized. Despite her life being full of highs and lows, Lisa is one strong woman, and she continues to influence the world with her kindness and her love for what she does. Because of this, she was able to completely change the K-pop game, but also change the lives of many of their fans. She rules the world. Insane talent in dancing and rapping, and her beautiful visuals aren't the only amazing traits of Lisa. She is still down to earth despite living the life many people dream of. In 2019, when a monsoon flooded over 32 provinces in Thailand, Lisa offered a helping hand and donated around $3,000 to a fund to help those who had to evacuate due to the flooding. When Lisa landed herself her first solo magazine cover for Harper's Bazaar in Thailand, all of the 120,000 copies were sold out, and it was still highly demanded even after that. This just shows how strong her impact is. Lisa was also asked to be a mentor on numerous survival shows, especially Youth with You Season 2 and 3. Here, we can see a completely different side of Lisa. She took up the role of leader and a role model, as she wasn't afraid to give her criticism, but also was very open to motivate the ones competing. Due to this, Lisa was highly praised for how greatly she handled the role of a leader, and people especially appreciated the boost in the dancers' confidence after Lisa gave them positive feedback. But in some moments, Lisa transformed into a completely different person, and her facial expressions gave it all away. When the dancers did a wrong move, Lisa didn't hesitate to stand up and show them how to do it properly. She gained a lot of respect as a mentor because her persona was really professional and sometimes even strict. Seriously, she had no mercy with these dancers. What a boss. Lisa's endorsements and brand deals are on a whole new level. This girl is collecting them like Pokemon cards. From being the brand presenter for the Samsung Galaxy S10 in Thailand, Lisa worked hard all the way to the top and became the first K-pop idol to take up a role of MAC's new global brand ambassador. She became the global ambassador of Celine, a really popular French luxury brand, after she's been continuously seen wearing the brand's clothing or attending their fashion shows. Furthermore, Lisa also became the ambassador for another luxury brand, this time Bulgari. We could go on and on about Lisa's endorsements, but it would take us days to name them all. That's how influential she is. As of April 2021, Lisa became the most followed K-pop idol ever on Instagram. She recently surpassed over 50 million followers, and that just proved that she's more than just an ordinary girl from Thailand. She is an actual superstar. But even newer stars haven't been spared from assumptions and unfair treatment. Wyong is one of the most popular and beloved idols of the fourth generation, but behind her massive popularity, there are a lot of factors which have surprised people. Rumors of her private life, speculations of whether she was involved in the rigging scandal, her mysterious background keep people asking the same question. Who really is Wyong? Wyong has always been a gifted person. Ever since she was a child, she attended flute, piano, violin, and swimming lessons. She also got tutored in mathematics and English. Quite the genius, huh? Wyong got scouted by Starship Entertainment very early on when she was just 13 years old. It was very accidental too, as being an idol wasn't in her plans in the first place. She was attending her sister's middle school graduation ceremony when she caught the eye of a scouting agent. She trained under Starship Entertainment for a year and 2 months before she got the green light to join Produce 48 in order to perfect her skills. Her being a contestant was quite controversial at the time though. It's nothing new for literal children to be trainees or even debut, but it still causes uproar among netizens every time it happens. However, Wyong had enough talent and charm for people to ignore the controversial parts of this altogether. Yes, her initial evaluation could have been better, but the public had already fallen in love with her, or some of them at least, which is no surprise. The fact that she was made to perform an inappropriate song as a minor, having more screen time than some of the other contestants, and the big amount of fans she had were all things she got hate for. You know, things that can't be helped or controlled by her. She was also criticized for her nasty attitude towards her bandmates, which happened whenever she breathed in the wrong way or looked particularly tired or angry. The hate against her hit its peak once she finished Produce 48 in first place with 338,366 votes, debuting as the center of the project group IZ*ONE. This is when all hell broke loose. People thought that something fishy was going on, as they believed that Wyong did not deserve to be the center of the group compared to contestants like Sakura or Eunbi. And with the whole rigging scandal, where the director of Produce 48 admitted he had rigged the votes in favor of 4 different contestants, people said that there was a chance that Wyong's position wasn't what it was supposed to be. Netizens thought that Mnet stopped Sakura from becoming the center because she was Japanese, and Koreans aren't exactly friendly with them. Also, to some viewers, Wyong suspiciously jumped in ranks even though they claim she didn't improve a lot from the very beginning of the show. A Produce 48 fan wrote, Wyong's final ranking was 7 and they made it 1. Sakura's real ranking was 1. It was fishy because Taeyeon's final ranking was 12. Her final ranking was 3rd. Again, they changed it. I think there were more Japanese members if they did not rig the votes. But even though there was never any proof of which members were rigged in, and the fact that Wyong did an amazing job as the center of IZ*ONE, her fan camps were flooded with hate comments for months after the group debuted. These comments didn't stop once she debuted under Starship's newest group, IVE. But on top of the attitude scandals and the accusations that she was untalented compared to her bandmates, she was also accused of being favored by the stylists. Yeah, it's not something she can really be blamed for, but again, being an it girl comes with its downsides. With all the issues she was facing, there was also a lot of confusion about what her real nationality is. This is something that hasn't been cleared up to this day, but let me tell you why people suspect that she might have a Chinese or Taiwanese background. Because of South Korea's problems with China, Chinese idols aren't treated the best. Just look at the comments Korean netizens make about aespa's Ningning. Things aren't much better for Taiwanese idols either. Like, remember what Tui went through for holding a Taiwanese flag? All the hate she got? Because of this, it's understandable that all companies would want to avoid the backlash and xenophobia against their members, and that's why they might want to hide Wyong's true nationality. The rumors about her possibly being Chinese or Taiwanese started because of Produce 48's official website. In the past, they put Wyong's name as Chang Yuanying, but changed it to Jung Wyong shortly after. So what's the big deal with this? You can't romanize a Korean name directly into Chinese without using Chinese characters and having it written out in Chinese romanization. Plus, Mnet used to put the nationalities of their contestants in their bios, but strangely, Wyong's nationality section was left blank. The feature was removed after some time, but it still raised a lot of suspicions among people who noticed it at first. There were also speculations that Wyong owned a Taiwanese passport, but it all turned out to be a misunderstanding as they're the same color as Korean ones. This argument also doesn't hold up because if Wyong was truly Taiwanese with a dual citizenship, she'd have to pass a Chinese Mandarin language test, and she isn't exactly fluent in the language. Not only that, but the few times she spoke Mandarin, native speakers said that she sounded exactly like a foreigner. She was also born and raised in Seoul her whole life, so it wouldn't make sense for her to have a Taiwanese passport. There were also pictures of Wyong holding a Korean passport, so the rumors were debunked before they could spread more. Plus, there have been actual news articles that talked about her parents' nationality. There was a Taiwanese news outlet that claimed Wyong is half Taiwanese in an article about Produce 48. The article says, "In fact, she is a Taiwanese girl. She has a lovely and cute appearance. Her father is Taiwanese and her mother is Korean." There was also an alleged ex-classmate of Wyong who said that she was Chinese, but neither the article nor the alleged classmate can be considered reliable sources. Then another rumor came about Wyongs' grandfather, Jang Yong-sung, that claimed that he's Chinese and used to be a man of a very important position. He allegedly moved to South Korea early on and used to be the general secretary of the Association of Overseas Chinese in Korea. Another source said that he runs a Chinese restaurant in the neighborhood of Yeonhui-dong in Seoul. Based on these sources, Wyongs' father is named Jang Woo-sung and is also the CEO of a large Chinese restaurant chain. But again, none of this information is confirmed. A user on Reddit also claimed, according to information that's been added to her profile, it says she's like 1/3 or 4th Taiwanese, with her mom being half Taiwanese and half Korean, and her dad being ethnically Korean but growing up in Taiwan. I would assume due to this she can speak Chinese, but who knows. Her personality definitely gives off Korean vibes, though I'm not sure. But it's important to remember that in the end, these are all rumors which have been flying around ever since Wyong was in Produce 48, but neither Wyong nor Starship have ever confirmed nor denied them. A fan even claimed to have called up Starship in order to confirm or deny the rumors about her nationality, but they said that Starship didn't give any statement. There are two options for what's going on though. The first one is that the whole thing about Wyongs' name in the Produce 48 website was a misunderstanding. There's a possibility that Mnet or Starship used the name Chun Yeon-ying in order to register her into the show, as Hanjiao names are used for ID purposes. They probably just forgot to change it to her Korean name until the issue got big enough to get their attention. The second possibility is that Starship is hiding her actual nationality in order to avoid controversies and make her look better to the Korean public. This wouldn't be the first time they fake something about their idols. I mean, they literally changed the birthdays of 3 Uju Sonya members in order to match their zodiac sign concept. What's stopping them from hiding Wyongs' nationality? It's not even hard with how little information we have about Wyongs' private life. In general, Wyong has been very quiet about her life before she was an idol or her life outside of her job. There's not too much that people know about her beyond what she's already told the public, but this has made everyone all the more curious. Her nationality isn't the only thing that was confusing people. There are also a lot of speculations that Wyong actually comes from a wealthy and powerful family. Even before she debuted in Eyes One, she was seen wearing a lot of designer pieces. She also went to an English-speaking school when she was a child, which is quite expensive and can't be afforded by many. Wyong also said that she had never used public transportation, which means that this girl is loaded. Though this was used as an argument against her in the rigging scandal. Some assumed that she had paid her way into being the center, and even later on, she was accused of being a silver spoon and getting special treatment because of it. So yes, all of her so-called scandals are based on rumors and speculations and people trying to tear her down by making up excuses about her popularity. So anytime you see people coming up with all sorts of rumors to discredit Wyong or make her look bad in the eyes of her fans and netizens, take them with a grain of salt. Now that we found out that insane people actually pay others to leave hate comments on her fan cams and videos, who's to say that people aren't also paid to start rumors about her? You never know these days. But sometimes it's not just misunderstanding, it's deep personal pain hidden behind success.
IU is an artist that most of us K-pop fans recognize immediately. The real name of this so-called golden voice singer is Lee Ji-eun, and her stage name stands for I and U. Even though she became one of the biggest K-pop acts of our generation, her life has been far from a fairy tale. IU's story is actually heartbreaking. Sad childhood. IU was born on May 16, 1993 in Seongjeong-dong, Korea. As if fate had plans for her, she became interested in a career in the entertainment industry already when she was very young. Because her family was well off at the time, her parents were able to afford to send her to acting classes and support their daughter's dream. Unfortunately, around the time IU was in elementary school, her family's good financial situation started to crumble down after her parents fell into a devastating debt. They had to move to Uijeongbu in Gyeonggi province, but rather than stay with their parents, who both had to work hard to pay off their debt, IU and her younger brother went to live with their grandma and cousins. Now, this was a major change that affected Jian for the rest of her life. In one of the interviews, she shared what it was like back then. In this tiny room, I lived with my grandmother, cousin, and brother. It was always cold and we never had enough to eat. This led to a lot of suffering, but IU never complained and tried to be grateful for the little she had. During these times, her grandma supported everyone from the family by selling hair accessories at the market. Little did IU know that things were about to get even worse. After a while, her grandma's studio room became infested with roaches, and it wasn't safe for anyone to live there anymore. So they all moved into a house of their relative. Things got ugly when the family tried to crash her dreams of becoming an entertainer. The singer, now known as the nation's little sister, shared a story about how one of her relatives would often come home drunk and hurt her verbally, screaming that she should be studying instead of practicing because she would never become a singer. IU said that she had always tried to pretend to be asleep just to endure all the pain that she was feeling. But life had more suffering in store for her. The horror of her trainee days. Despite a lack of support from within her family, IU persevered and did her best to follow her dreams. You'd think that by this time, life would take a turn to be a little kinder to her, but unfortunately, it kept knocking her down. Even after finally becoming a trainee, things didn't go as planned. To keep it real, the situation was horrible. It turned out that the agency which she signed to was actually scamming new naive artists, and they tricked her into spending a large amount of money for the training and appearing on various TV programs. What's more, the money she used to pay the agency came from her grandma, who struggled to earn it. Despite the terrible experience, IU continued to audition for different labels. After 20 auditions, including one for JYP Entertainment, luck was still not on her side. That is, until Loan Entertainment saw her potential and signed her as a trainee. Since IU is now one of the biggest celebrities in Korea, JYP himself expressed regret over not giving her a contract, joking that he wanted to fire whoever had let her go. When she officially became a real trainee, there was a big chance that her signing goal was achievable. She moved to the center of Seoul to train at the agency, and aside from the fact that becoming a trainee was literally a dream come true, there was one more thing that made IU happy. While other idols usually complain about their companies not letting them eat what they want, Jian was really appreciative because her label provided her with a lot of food that was so scarce at home. She even once said that she loved being at the studio because she could eat as much as she wanted to, and on top of that, she had a place where she could sleep. It's so heartbreaking that she had to struggle this much just to have enough food and a place to feel safe at. The shiny side of fame. When IU was just 15 years old and after training for only 10 months, Loan Entertainment felt confident that she was ready to debut. On September 18, 2008, she made her appearance on M Countdown with the song Lost Child. It wasn't a big hit, but that didn't stop her. After all, she had gone through so much that some criticism from netizens was just a minor issue for her. The times were getting better, and when she released the debut studio album Growing Up, IU began getting the attention she rightfully deserved and started getting popular in the mainstream media. Even though she was still pretty much a rookie, she had earned enough money to help take care of her family, pay off her parents' debts, and buy her dad his dream car. Jian was getting a gig after gig and finally living what seemed to be her best life. When she was just 18, she starred in a famous drama Dream High, which was almost like a flashback of her previous struggles. Honestly, IU was just killing it. Year by year, she was getting bigger and more successful. By the end of 2011, she released her second full-length album Last Fantasy, and it was an all-kill. All 13 songs immediately swept the charts. Imagine accomplishing all this at only 18. Her impact is so admirable, and it's crazy to think that just 3 years before that, she hadn't had enough food to eat. Another thing that's pretty mind-blowing about IU is that 71% of the people who bought tickets for her concerts were male, which is considered really unusual for a K-pop concert. She won a ton of awards, and Billboard magazine named her as one of the hottest musicians under 21 for her unique charm and undeniable hits that have made her into a bona fide superstar. I mean, one can hardly do better than that, right? But life had other plans. Too many goodbyes. Losing friends is never easy. Though, when it happens naturally, it's much different than when your closest friends tragically pass away. Some people may not know this, but IU was so incredibly close to Junghyun, Sully, and Guhara. They were amazing friends who spent so much time together that it affected her tremendously when they passed. In 2018, IU even gave a speech at the Golden Disc Awards where she fearlessly mentioned Junghyun. To be honest, I'm still very sad. Why he was in such pain and suffered so much, I think I partly understand. That's not an emotion that I'm completely unfamiliar with. We are people whose daily lives are so busy, and we have to plan for our next month, next year. It's sad that our reality will not allow us to dwell in sadness for as long as we want. However, it wasn't everything she had to say. IU continued by sharing her thoughts on the health of idols and how she hopes that everyone can be vocal about their feelings. For many people, this is one of the most heartbreaking speeches that a K-pop idol ever gave. Next year in 2019, the world was hit with the sad news. Sully was found unconscious in her own house on the 14th of October. Many people got worried about IU and were scared, but she proved over and over again how strong she is, and she endured the pain of losing one of her closest friends. In 2012, she actually wrote a song about Sully called Peach. The name of the song came from Sully's nickname. After she passed away, the song re-entered the music charts and the whole world was reminded of what a precious person she was. Let's just say that the lyrics of the song hit different now. Telling you multiple times is not enough. With this tickling voice that only knows you, I will sing for you. My heart keeps going to you. Because of the unfortunate event, IU postponed the release of her album and the beginning of her concert too. She said, "I think I need a little time for myself," which was only understandable. To honor Sully, IU posted a series of pictures on her Instagram. She showed a picture of herself with a drawing made by Sully that inspired her album Chatshire. Jian shared a story of how she once saw that drawing at Sully's house and that she was so kind to give it to her. As it turns out, the drawing was also Sully's self-portrait, so it holds a real significance to IU. On the 23rd of November 2019, IU held her concert, and since it was only a month after Sully passed away, she still felt very sad. During her concert, Jian said, "I'm no longer able to see my friend whom I loved so dearly. She used to always come to see my concerts that are held in Seoul, no matter how busy she was, so I tried really hard not to cry today. But it has been a month since I last saw her, and when it came to the last song of that night, she ended it with, 'This is for her, and this is for everyone who needs it.' But only one day after the concert took place, another friend of IU was found unconscious. Guhara passed away on the 24th of November 2019, and Jian, along with many other people, were left completely devastated. It is rumored that IU found out the news about this in the middle of the day 2 of her concert. She shared a long, strong message with her fans. At times like now, people should love each other. Even when the world seems so mean, I hope that we all love one another as we live. It's absolutely crazy to even imagine the things she's been through and how much she managed to overcome." In 2020, IU released a song featuring Suga from BTS. The name of this fantastic music piece is 8, and it's about precious memories. Many people suspect that the first lines of the song are about Junghyun, Sully, and Guhara, because they seem to fit this situation perfectly. So, are you happy now? Finally happy now, are you? Well, I'm just the same. I feel like I lost everything. Everybody comes and goes as they wish, even without a goodbye. I don't want to love anyone if things go like this. It's no surprise that IU was deeply affected by everything that happened in between 2018 and 2019. In the song, she seems to be asking them if they're happy since they escaped all the hate they had to endure while they were still here. I'm pretty sure that she's never going to forget them. Honestly, IU is one hell of a woman. She is a fierce, independent female artist who deserves the whole world and more. Everything she touches turns into gold.
But quiet strength isn't unique to IU. Another idol story has also gone largely unnoticed. A lot of people dream about the lavish life Jisoo has. Full of luxury and people that absolutely adore her, Jisoo's life seems perfect. Yet the truth is absolutely different. For years, Jisoo has been casted in the shadows, even though her role in Blackpink is supposed to be equal to the others. There are moments when she's not even acknowledged, and I think it's truly her time to fully shine because she deserves it. Let's take a look at how misunderstood Jisoo is by the public. Blackpink is considered to be one of the biggest K-pop groups right now, and their success is only getting bigger. While to casual fans, the world of Blackpink might seem picture perfect, those who have been following the girl group closely will know that the girls have had their fair share of struggles, especially Jisoo and how the odds seem to be against her at times. Yet her trainee days seem to be smooth sailing from what we know. While being a trainee is extremely difficult on its own, according to the people around her, Jisoo had been really strong throughout her whole trainee period. Since she's the oldest member of Blackpink, she's been like an older sister to her younger members. The Blackpink producer Teddy shared that during the 6 years of knowing Jisoo, he's only seen her cry once. Obviously, Jisoo is much stronger than we might think, and she's been nothing but a reliable friend to those around her and an incredibly inspirational role model to her fans. So why does it seem like Jisoo is getting the short end of the stick? Why does it look like sometimes that her part in Blackpink is completely forgotten? Is it all just a bunch of strange coincidences, or is there something much darker going on behind the scenes? Not appreciated enough. Once Blackpink debuted, Jisoo took up the position of a lead vocalist and a visual of the group. Fans were excited because that meant that they could hear more of Jisoo's alluring and unique voice and see more of her stunning visuals. At least that's what they thought at first. Soon after, it's become obvious that Jisoo has been somehow pushed to the back, almost as if she was overshadowed by the other members. As a lead vocalist, Jisoo was supposed to have the majority of the lines in their songs. As a visual, she was supposed to sort of represent the group, for example, by being put in the thumbnails of their videos. None of that has been really happening. Jisoo was presumably chosen to be a visual because her looks are really picture perfect in the eyes of the ordinary Korean netizen. But Blackpink has attracted so much attention internationally that the other members seem to appeal to a wider audience more than her in the sense of looks. When it comes to line distribution, throughout Blackpink's whole discography, Jisoo has only 2 songs where she's in second place. What's the song? A lot of people find this ridiculous, mainly because the position of Jisoo has already been given at the start of her career. A fan of Blackpink dedicated some of their time to make a chart of the line distribution, and in almost all of them, Jisoo is in the last position. While Rosé is in first place and since she's the main vocalist of the group, Jisoo should be in second place as a so-called lead vocalist. Yet we can clearly see that she's not. Especially in Kiss and Make Up and Forever Young, you can see that Jisoo barely sang in those songs. And let's not even talk about their collaboration with Selena Gomez. When they released Ice Cream, Blinks were quick to notice that Jisoo only sang 2 lines throughout the whole song, while Selena, a featured artist, had almost 40 seconds worth of lines and the other 3 members got the rest. People were raging when it got released because it simply isn't fair towards Jisoo. Let me get back to Jisoo's position as a visual of the group. Much like being a lead vocalist, Jisoo should always be upfront and have either adequate screen time to the other members or even have most of it. Yet it looks like being a visual in Blackpink seems to be almost useless. Based on the screen time summary of their music videos, it's once again painfully obvious that Jisoo fell in last place for almost all their music videos. Even in their recent releases, Jisoo ends up in either 3rd or 4th. Jisoo's screen time is a serious joke despite her position as a visual, but maybe that also hints that this position in K-pop should be left behind in general. Blackpink is such a strong group visually and aesthetically that fashion brands fight for them to get them to represent their products. What she deserves. Not to mention the absolute disaster that was her promotion period for How You Like That. While the rest of the members had their teaser posters posted on their official Instagram account, Jisoo's teaser was mysteriously forgotten and was only posted after Blinks raised their voices. Now, this could have been an honest mistake coming from the person handling their social media accounts, but people have also conspired that it could be a certain publicity tactic coming from the agency. Because their fans have been so vocal about the way they managed Jisoo, the agency might have left out Jisoo's teaser poster on purpose, knowing that fans will notice it and will definitely talk about it. I mean, it trended on Twitter with the hashtag Jisoo deserves better, and while it would be a disgusting way to promote the group, who knows how far YG can really go in terms of publicity. What's worse is, do they even realize that this can seriously affect Jisoo's mental health? Imagine Jisoo hanging out with her bandmates when the photos get officially released and she's the only one left behind. That definitely cannot be a great feeling. In March of 2021, the fans trended a hashtag for Jisoo once again, demanding better treatment for her. With hashtag YG Respect Jisoo, Blinks complained about the lack of importance given to Jisoo. The fans slammed the agency for giving Jisoo the bare minimum every time the group goes on stage and during other occasions as well. Very recently, Jisoo has become a target of absurd and bizarre hate. In October of 2021, Jisoo posted a picture on her Instagram account where she showed off her new phone with an adorable phone case. While this post was completely innocent, people had a major problem with that, all because Jisoo changed her phone from Samsung to iPhone. These netizens mainly called out Jisoo's lack of loyalty to the Android brand, even going as far as calling her filthy. What's even more confusing is that the rest of the girls also own iPhones and have never encountered any hate for changing their phones before that. Wonderfully enough though, Jisoo has been absolutely thriving outside her idol activities, and the fans couldn't be more happy about it. She proved that she can build her own image on her own, and we're all here for it. A true icon. Jisoo could seriously be nicknamed as Dior's princess, because right now, Jisoo's name has slowly become synonymous with this fashion house. Her endorsements began in 2019 when Jisoo became a local ambassador for Dior's cosmetic brand Dior Beauty. Jisoo was also appointed as the first main model for Cartier's digital project in the return of Pasha de Cartier, and her collaborative works with Dior steadily grew. In September of 2021, Jisoo attended the Dior Women's Wear 2021/2022 show during the Paris Fashion Week, and she looked absolutely stunning. Seriously, Jisoo could drop everything and become a full-time model if she wanted to. Her look during the Paris Fashion Week made headlines for how effortlessly beautiful and chic it was. Now let me show you something that made headlines during the Dior fashion show. I guess you might have already seen this clip. During the fashion show, Jisoo bumped into the CEO of Dior, Pietro Beccari. The clip of their interaction went viral, mainly because of Pietro leaning towards a staff member and saying, "If the CEO of such a luxurious brand can recognize how beautiful Jisoo is and what she stands for, why can't YG do it and constantly ignore her position in Blackpink?" One fan commented, "It just shows how the CEO of Dior really likes Jisoo being their ambassador. No wonder with her impact on the brand and during the event itself. Look at the massive fans crowding the event in various videos of the show." Among other things, Jisoo has also ranked 10th as the most popular K-pop idol in 2018, and in 2019, she was ranked as the 6th most popular female K-pop idol in a survey of soldiers serving their mandatory military service. Jisoo was also included in the ranking for top 10 celebrities and influencers leading the world of cosmetics for the first 5 months of 2020. Women's Wear Daily, a fashion journal, revealed that Jisoo led the ranking in average engagement per post, followed by Rihanna and Kylie Jenner. She placed 7th in the overall ranking, and she was the only East Asian to be included in the list with the fewest posts, just 12 in total. Jisoo was also ranked first on Blackpink's personal brand reputation, created by Korea Enterprise Research Institute. The director of Korean Language Research Institute also named Jisoo, alongside BTS's Jungkook, as world world's beauty standard, taking over the status of Olivia Hussey and James Dean. It's confusing to see YG behave the way that they do when they have such a gem in their company. Although the fans have been over the moon to see Jisoo being so loved and sought after in the fashion industry, they've been calling for Jisoo's solo album for years now, especially since Jisoo is the only member of Blackpink without one. Although nothing has been officially announced, the fans have already come up with numerous theories. They're all extremely interesting, but the one regarding what the name of Jisoo's solo song will be is the most popular one. According to the fans, Jisoo's single will begin with the letter O because when combined with the rest of the members, it will spell out the word solo. I mean, they are really damn close with that theory since everything seems to align. Jennie started with her solo, then came Rosé with On the Ground, and Lisa with Lalisa. Even though Jisoo's solo has been confirmed since June of 2020, there's basically nothing that the fans know about it. Thankfully, the reason why Jisoo's solo hasn't been released yet is a good one. Jisoo has been confirmed as one of the leading roles in the new drama Snowdrop alongside Dong Hae-in. Snowdrop is a story following two college students caught up in a romance during the year 1987, which was an important year in South Korea's history that saw a nationwide mass movement that forced the ruling government to hold elections. The drama is a great chance for Jisoo to once again show that she isn't lacking any skills to be a great all-rounded idol. Jisoo shared how she gained strength during the filming in a recent Harper's Bazaar interview. The other Blackpink members promised that no matter what, they would watch the drama when it airs on TV. Even when I was filming, because we contacted each other so often, they were always cheering me on. Because the members were so curious about the drama, I found myself gaining strength and working even harder. And this brings me to the fact that the members clearly love each other despite them not being treated equally by the company and the media. But when it comes to sudden changes and silence, no story has left fans more confused than his. When asked about the GOT7 member who changed drastically, Bam Bam didn't hesitate to say Jackson's name. He explained that Jackson's image had changed a lot since he had started his solo activities, especially since his album Magic Man was released. Specifically, he recalled meeting with Jackson in Paris and noticing the changes in how he acted. He said that he had a drink in the room with Jackson and that he acted the same then. But when they were outside, he wouldn't laugh or joke and keep his stoic image. While the fans don't know Jackson personally, they could all agree that Jackson had changed. They just couldn't tell if it was for the better or if they needed to be worried. After the GOT7 members didn't renew their contracts with JYP Entertainment, they all went to do their own things. Fans expected everyone to approach their solo careers a different way since, after all, they weren't restricted by the agency anymore and could do what they wanted. However, one of the members that seemed to have changed the most was Jackson, and fans were getting concerned about him at one point, especially after his 2022 interview with Eric Nam. In November of 2022, he appeared on Dive Studios' podcast Daebak Show with Eric Nam so he could promote his album Magic Man, and he got really honest about his struggles with mental health. Eric had asked him what was the reason that his mental health reached an all-time low, and Jackson went on to explain that he was lost as he felt like everything was a loop, words, the people he met, and what they would say to him. Elaborating on this, Jackson expressed his dilemma. He acknowledged the situation created by this cycle, questioning whether he should prioritize personal gain or stay true to himself for once. He also recognized his imperfections, which have made him feel compelled to be honest with his audience so he could be sure that those who support him truly know the real Jackson Wang. However, this took a serious toll on him. He didn't want to talk to anyone or hang out with anyone, even going as far as to isolate himself from his team and started drinking alone frequently. During these moments, he came to the realization that not everyone around him shared the same artistic vision. Most of the people around him were more focused on turning what he did into a marketable product. This devastated him, so he cut ties with everyone and started creating Magic Man all alone. This led Eric to ask Jackson about what brought him out of his slump, so he mentioned that reconnecting with his producer and stylist played a significant role as the conversations they had together made him feel like their words held meaning once again. The most important realization he came to, though, was that it was okay for him to talk about not being okay. He said, "I might be gone tomorrow, you never know, but at least every single day I want to live like me, be honest to myself, be honest to the audience, making sure that, hey, this is the real me." Another thing he talked about were his struggles of promoting his music in Korea. He expressed that since his biggest feat was fading into obscurity as an artist, the last few years have been really rough because he couldn't release any solo music in South Korea. Since his career as an artist began there, it's been hard for him not to show appreciation to the fans who kickstarted his career. Eric appeared understanding since a large chunk of Jackson's popularity as a GOT7 member came from his variety show appearances, so not being able to promote anymore and connect with his Korean fans fans must have been awful. It's true that people would lose interest since he was focused on promoting internationally and hasn't been promoting on music shows or doing any variety. However, there's so much that he wants to share with his Korean audience, so to him, it felt frustrating that he missed out on opportunities by being absent as a solo artist from the Korean music scene. Additionally, he shared a devastating piece of information about himself that made his fans all around the world feel for him. Towards the end of the podcast, Eric shared some concerns that fans had sent in for the two to discuss and give advice on. One fan said that they felt happy whenever they were around their friends, but when they were alone, they felt lonely and depressed. Jackson expressed just how much he related to the fan and started talking about how lonely he felt sometimes. He shared that every time he returned home, he would keep one light on even if he was away for months. This made him feel like someone was waiting for him whenever he would go back home. It also helped him cope with the challenges of people constantly relying on him for work and the fact that he had to take care of his parents. The light turned a symbol of dependability and comfort for him when he returned home. It's rare for idols to get so candid about their personal struggles, and while fans appreciated the fact that he was being so open and honest with them, they also started to feel worried. Judging by what Jackson was saying, it still felt like he was feeling lonely and lost. This is why, during his tour, fans and the public grew more and more concerned. When he went on his solo tour, Magic Man World Tour, everything seemed fine. Jackson was an outstanding performer after all, interacting with fans and making sure that everyone was having the best time of their lives. However, no matter what, Jackson still showed that he's human by getting emotional during his performance of Blue. As mentioned before, the Magic Man album held a deep personal meaning for him as it was created during a tough period in his life. However, the song Blue holds a special place in his heart as it's about finding solace in chaos, a theme he strongly relates to. This must have been why he broke down crying while performing the song on day 3 in Bangkok. With tears in his eyes, he explained that he has been dreaming of being able to perform and release music without any restraints. He said that everything that he's done so far, including his performances, his music, and everything else had been filtered, tagged, labeled. He went on to say, "I don't want to be labeled, I don't want to have tags, I don't want to have any filter." He took the filter thing way too seriously though, if we were to judge by some of the things he said and did during the tour. When Jackson performed in London, he gave a long speech that left the public divided. His speech went on for nearly 8 minutes, but since people on the internet tend to post shorter clips, only some parts of the speech went viral. This led several of Jackson's fans to say that he was facing criticism because they were taken out of context, with the intention to misinterpret what he meant. After introducing himself as Jackson Wang from China, he went on to talk about how the media tends to portray China in a negative light through propaganda and guaranteed everyone that if they were to visit the country, they would think otherwise. Jackson also expressed his dislike for celebrities getting too much praise and encouraged his fans to value every job and discover happiness in their own unique paths. Throughout most of his speech, Jackson talked about the concept of finding your own standard, but what got the most attention from everyone was the beginning of his speech, the part where he talked about China. A big chunk of netizens thought he was talking about the reports of innocent Uyghur Muslims being held in concentration camps in China and considering it just Western propaganda against China instead of something factual. Others thought that he was referencing the headlines that came out on the day of his concert, which were talking about the COVID-19 pandemic and how people shouldn't visit China because of it. According to the fans, Jackson was merely defending his country and expressing how proud he was of his homeland, which was nothing wrong according to them, but that wasn't the only thing people were concerned about. Jackson is one of the idols that hasn't shied away from how much he loves alcohol. In a past interview, he mentioned his love for white wine and Muay Thai and shared that he inherited his dad's talent for handling a lot of drinks without getting drunk. He even mentioned that he used Muay Thai to sleep better. To prove just how much he liked the drink, a netizen had posted a video of Jackson at a Shanghai bar casually drinking Muay Thai straight from the bottle. For those who aren't familiar with the drink, Muay Thai is a Chinese liquor with at least 38% alcohol, so it's pretty strong. To see Jackson downing it like it was water was amusing, but some people found it worrying to say the least, especially during his tour. He started by bringing a bottle of champagne during his performances of Champagne Cool and taking a big swig from the bottle. Most of it would spill out and get on his clothes, but he kept doing it during the live performances of the song Poison as well. Paired with the after parties that he was organizing during the tour where drinks hadn't been missing, fans were confused about what was going on. Even when he performed at Coachella, he brought a bottle of alcohol on stage with him and got drenched in it. Some wondered if he was doing it because he felt lonely, because to them, the drinking during the concerts was unnecessary. However, others brought to light that the tour was sponsored by Hennessy, so he was promoting the brand by bringing the bottles of alcohol on stage with him. They also pointed out that he wasn't technically drinking from the bottle, but was mostly spilling it all over himself. There were also no complaints about him being drunk on stage, and as a fan pointed out, this was the happiest and most alive that Jackson has looked in a while. lifestyle. Considering that he confessed to having a hard time before the release of his album, having fun on stage, surrounded by fans was probably just what he needed to lift up his spirits, but everyone's worries didn't end there, unfortunately. In May of last year, he went live on Instagram as he was waiting to board his flight to New York. At the very beginning of the live stream, he expressed that he was hungry but couldn't eat anything so he could stay in shape. In fact, he shared that he was eating just one meal a day. The fact that he also dozed off for a big chunk of the stream raised some alarms in everyone's head because in addition to looking very frail and thin, he also appeared exhausted. Being an idol isn't easy, but to watch Jackson sacrifice so much of his well-being has been devastating. He's shown that he's someone who will dedicate everything to achieve his vision. After the release of Magic Man, Jackson stayed in the limelight making waves with his performance at Coachella, yet once his shows for the Latin America part of the tour were over, he kind of vanished and only showed up in Thailand for his duties and at Paris Fashion Week as an ambassador for Louis Vuitton. However, even if he wasn't promoted or talked about in Korea, his shows in China were sold out, and in November, he launched a line of Team Wang design with Fila Fusion. He also got the title of the Most Influential Overseas Artist of the Year at Tencent Video All-Star Night 2023 and snagged the Record of the Year and 2 more awards at the Asian Pop Music Awards. He's dipping his toes into production as he has taken the role of a mentor on Chuang Asia Thailand, and his label, Rice Entertainment, will be debuting the winning team, so we're going to have something to look forward to. Plus, he's now part of Forbes 30 Under 30 China list, so despite all the setbacks, he's still working hard and making a difference in the industry just how he had wanted to. We really wish him all the best and cannot wait to witness more of his magic. And for ITZY, the truth behind the scenes is far more complex than it seems.
ITZY's road to success has been very rocky as they had to deal with many harsh things. Weird controversies and the scandals that have plagued them for years are really something that they had to stand up against. This is the untold story of ITZY, the beginning of it all. The story of how ITZY came together is actually pretty interesting. The first member to join ITZY was Chaeyoung, who actually went through 2 survival shows, K-Pop Star Season 3, which got her signed with JYP, and 16. She made it to the finals, but as we all know, she didn't end up debuting with TWICE. In 2015, 3 more future members of ITZY joined JYP Entertainment. Ryujin and Yena were both discovered by the agency when they attended different concerts. Yena at a year-end concert and Ryujin at a GOT7 one, while Yeji auditioned and ended up getting accepted into the company. 2 years later in 2017, Leah also auditioned and joined JYP after being accepted years earlier by SM, but didn't join the company due to her parents' opposition. With that, ITZY had a full perfect lineup by 2017, but it took 2 more years for them to debut together. Now, if you know anything about JYP, you know that its girl groups have always had iconic debuts. Wonder Girls debuted with Irony, Miss A debuted with the legendary song Bad Girl Good Girl, and TWICE debuted with Like Ooh Ah, so to say that the expectations were high would be an understatement. However, when ITZY came out with Dala Dala, the reactions were mixed to say the least. Not that the netizens felt like the song was bad or anything, but it was nothing similar to the songs that JYP girl groups released in the past. It was experimental and bold, and it had shocked everyone so much that the people didn't even know how to react. A netizen commented, "The song really isn't like JYP, and it's really shocking." On the other hand, other netizens thought that the song was good and that the girls did a wonderful job, writing comments like, "The song is much better than what sounds on the teaser, and Yeji is very beautiful, and I have a feeling that they will be a big success." The second comment ended up hitting the nail on the head, as the girls ended up being one of, if not the most successful rookies of 2019. Dala Dala managed to reach 2nd place on both the Korean Gaon and K-Pop Hot 100 and Billboard's American World Digital Song Sales charts. To make things better, the song earned ITZY their first music show win just a record-breaking 8 days after its debut, and the music video broke the record for the most viewed K-pop debut video in 24 hours on YouTube. No debut music video had reached 100 million views so quickly before ITZY. The comebacks following Dala Dala were successful as well, with each breaking and setting more records than the last. The girls took the industry by storm and didn't seem to stop anytime soon. But then things went crashing down. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Just like every group, ITZY has had its fair share of controversies. They were accused of cultural appropriation, with Leah wearing a Native American headdress on Knowing Bros, and Yeji and Ryujin having braids and cornrows respectively. But the biggest scandal the group went through to this day is Leah's mistreatment scandal. In February of last year, an anonymous netizen went on an online forum to accuse Leah of mistreating them in middle school. They didn't mention Leah specifically, but they said that the female idol who had perpetrated them was born in 2000, had straight shoulders, and debuted under a Big 3 agency in 20 2019. It's not like it was hard for others to connect the dots. The original poster A said that Leah borrowed money from A's classmate and never returned the money afterwards. She also made another classmate break up with her boyfriend and turned her into an outcast. When A had allegedly asked Leah and her group of friends on why she had never returned the money and did the things that she did, they all cursed at her. A also added that Leah and her group of friends kept going to her class and cursing at her. They said that they had posted on social media about how A had made false accusations against Leah. The accuser said that she had heard in April of 2018 that her harasser would be debuting under a big agency soon. The alleged victim has spoken about the mistreatment even then, but ended up getting sued for defamation. JYP denied the rumors immediately. They posted a statement explaining that the investigation against the accuser was still ongoing. They said, "This is a case in which we sued the writer of the post last year for defamation by spreading false rumors. We inform you that the investigation on this case is ongoing and that we are awaiting the results according to formal legal procedures." They also denied the rumors and threatened to take legal action against anyone who would disrupt promotions and spread false rumors. "This matter is completely false, and we relay our plans to push further charges regarding the matter and also take strong legal action against any deeds that defame our artists." However, these threats ended up backfiring on them. A and another accuser, B, were found not guilty, and JYP promised to launch a re-investigation. The accuser ended up releasing another statement and said that the reason that the two were found not guilty was because they had so much witness evidence against Leah that the judges had no choice. She said, "I was able to receive testimonies from a friend who was also a victim, as well as another friend who was present during the incident. Once I submitted the testimonies, the police cleared my case and I received a letter in the mail declaring that I was found not guilty." She also went on to explain that ITZY's manager and Leah's cousin had started contacting Leah's former classmates in order to get an idea on what Leah was like during middle school. The alleged victim also said that the claims that JYP had filed for a re-investigation weren't true and that JYP wanted to meet both of them in person, but they declined. The way JYP handled this scandal ended up hurting Leah and ITZY as a whole in the long run. The mistreatment allegations were never properly cleared up, which made netizens believe that Leah was guilty after all. Not only that, but Leah never addressed the controversy herself, most likely because she wasn't allowed to. A fan wrote, "They should just properly provide an explanation. I just feel so uncomfortable having to keep seeing someone who could have been a... I don't know what the company wants us to do, honestly. I'm not that interested in hearing JYP's opinion, but I would very much like to see Leah write her own letter." To add fuel to the fire, ITZY made their comeback with Loco in September of the same year, with Leah being part of the promotions. Considering that JYP made Hyunjin go on hiatus because of unconfirmed accusations, the way that they were moving with Leah was just weird. But this started a hate train against her, which ended up with her getting criticized and hated for the smallest things, posting on Instagram, dancing, performing, and even breathing. Loco also didn't do very well on the charts. I mean, it didn't exactly flop because it's ITZY after all, but it did significantly worse than their other releases, and people ended up blaming Leah for it along with JYP, who they called a criminal company. Leah in general had been a scapegoat for the haters for a long time, and the mistreatment scandal ended up being brought up whenever ITZY did anything. In fact, it happened in May of this year, more than a year after the whole thing happened. ITZY appeared as dream mentors for 20 children and answered all of their questions. This rubbed netizens the wrong way, and they criticized ITZY for having the audacity to do this with Leah still being a part of the group. Comments included things like, "While having a school violence member? I thought this might be an article from some years ago, but turns out it's from a few days ago." And "What crime did the other members commit?" Leah was accused of bringing the group down as a whole, as she also had a lazy dancing controversy and was the first member to get COVID. Yes, believe it or not, netizens blamed Leah for ruining ITZY's promotions by getting COVID. They really can't help taking things too far. The other members weren't safe from netizens either. Ryujin and Yena were criticized for losing too much weight, as if that's something netizens should be talking about in the first place. There are several posts about Taeryung not fitting Korean beauty standards, so netizens resort to calling her ugly for no reason. I'm gonna need netizens to leave the girls alone, because at this point, we can basically say that they've come to the point of harassing them. It's even worse when the girls haven't even done anything to prompt this witch hunt. But how did these controversies affect ITZY? The aftermath. As I said, Loco didn't do too well on Korean music charts, but it didn't completely flop either because, let's be honest, it's a total bop in terms of how original it is. It's simply a great pop song. In fact, it can be considered the most successful ITZY comeback internationally. Crazy in Love is their highest selling album to date with 500,000 copies sold. They also reached the highest spots of their careers on the Billboard album sales chart and Billboard 200 chart at number 1 and 11 respectively. Like all of their past works, Crazy in Love landed a spot on many global charts. I mean, they've told us time and time again that they didn't let the haters get to them, and with their continuous success amidst all the hate, they keep showing us that they're serious about it too. ITZY's latest comeback, Checkmate, is making all the noise because of the concept change and the teasers, but what's important is that the girls worked really hard on the comeback and we should give them the support they deserve.
But among all the misunderstood idols, one name keeps coming up again and again.
Blackpink's Jennie has become the face of popularity and glamour in the K-pop industry over the last few years. However, behind the golden facade, Jennie's life and career has been full of hardships and downsides. So what don't people understand about Jennie, and why is she always the target of hate? False accusations. People have been basically trying to destroy Jennie's career ever since it started. To be more specific, it hadn't even started yet. She was just a YG trainee and people started accusing her of horrible things. In fact, she had just appeared on G-Dragon's music video for That XX when a netizen claiming to have been a classmate of Jennie when she returned to South Korea accused her and her group of friends of harassment. The netizen wrote a post on Natepan saying that Jennie and her friend group had tormented them for not speaking English well, to the point that the accuser had contemplated harming themselves. I think we can all agree that these are some very serious accusations, especially for a trainee that was set to debut under a big 3 company. The netizen went on to explain what Jennie allegedly did to her, writing, "She'd throw juice, trash, and balls at me and laugh while doing so. Seeing someone that tortured me in the past preparing to come out on TV as a celebrity as if her past doesn't matter makes me sick." They also shared other details about Jennie, such as the fact that she returned to South Korea to audition for YG in 2010, and also attached a picture of Jennie from when she was in school. Of course, the Korean public was outraged. Big Bang fans were mad at her for starring in the music video along G-Dragon, and they already thought Jennie was mean-looking, so they decided that she must have been mean to her classmates. It also led to people asking YG not to debut her, considering the things she was accused of. God knows what Jennie must have gone through, since she hadn't even debuted yet, and people wanted her head on a platter. But they can never bring her down, as all the accusations were debunked. After the post on Pan went viral, the police tracked down and found that it was Mr. E who posted the accusations, acting as he was a former classmate of Jennie. Mr. E was already infamous as he had some kind of beef with YG and wanted to ruin their newest girl group. Plus, actual classmates of Jennie remembered her as very sweet to everyone and kind, and they came to her defense as soon as the accusations appeared. Solo troubles. Accusations aside, some people dislike Jennie, and it's probably because she's a successful woman who looks gorgeous and is extremely talented. She has always been pretty and successful, so you might see why some people were determined to take her down from the beginning. She already had fans in 2013, 3 years before she debuted with Blackpink, as she had been spotted meeting fans outside YG's building. There were also instances of other trainees being asked to deliver fans as gifts to Jennie. She was also the first trainee in K-pop to trend at #1 on Naver, and even managed to trend on the top 5 worldwide in 2012 when her first practice video was posted. But even with her popularity, she wasn't certain that she would get to debut. Out of all the Blackpink members, Jennie was the one that trained the longest, more specifically 6 years, when the average training period is 4 years. She was set to debut in 2012 and then in 2013, so she became unsure about when she would get to set foot on stage as an idol. Regarding the long training period, Jennie said, "I was expecting because I heard that YG Girl Group is going to be launched, yet I wasn't thrilled. Rather than aiming for debut between members, I say, let's just practice perfectly." And then she got to debut in 2016 and was disrespected from the start. According to others, Jennie has been favored by the company ever since she was a rookie. People thought she was getting pushed more than her fellow members and getting better outfits, more screen time, and lines. This led to her being hated, even though it was proven time and time again that Jennie isn't getting any special treatment. The stylists have pointed out that the Blackpink members always choose their own outfits, the line distribution is pretty fair, and the other members were also promoted before debuting, so I don't know where the narrative of Jennie being YG's princess came from. If she wasn't getting hated on for things she couldn't control, then she was hated on for things that people just assumed about her and took as facts. People accused her of being rude to fans, though there has been no proof of her being nothing but an angel to everyone. She also got a lot of hate for allegedly being mean to Lisa, even though the two get along just fine. So is this just people looking for a reason to hate on her? Probably yes. Then things got much worse when she debuted as a soloist. As soon as Jennie's solo was announced, people went ballistic. Her aunties and netizens were furious that she was the first Blackpink member to get her solo, since Jisoo was the main vocalist and Lisa was the main rapper. They were also upset at the fact that Blackpink hadn't even gotten their first album at the time, yet Jennie was debuting as a soloist. The netizens' comment said, "I've been feeling it for a while now, but it feels like in Blackpink, they're really trying to push only Jennie. And does Young Hyun-suk think that Jennie is on GD's level? She's definitely not. Before pushing her to go solo, he should make her try self-composing composing and writing. Why are they acting as if a singer's job isn't to sing? It's funny how they apply these double standards to her. Male idols debut without composing or writing lyrics, yet Jennie is expected to be a lyricist, composer, producer, choreographer, and sound technician before she even dares to think of releasing solo music? How does that even make sense? Even when YG announced that the other Blackpink members would also be making their solo debuts, netizens still kept talking about Jennie being the first one to do so. A commenter wrote, "It's obvious that he just wants to push Jennie solo. He has no other excuses, so he's making all the members have their own solos. He will just ignore the rest of the members if they don't end up doing well." Yes, people blamed her for everything that happened, even if she wasn't involved in it whatsoever. Damaging scandal. In 2018, Jennie was dealing with her lazy scandal and got more hate than I thought was humanly possible. I'm actually serious. I don't think she would have gotten more backlash if she had committed a crime. A couple of bad performances, and she was suddenly a fairy tale villain. In November of 2018, a YouTuber posted a compilation of Jennie performing, titling it Jennie Blackpink Lazy Dance. The video was removed by YG, but it didn't help as people finally thought that they found a good reason to criticize her. They accused Jennie of being so spoiled that she was giving bad performances due to favoritism and not doing enough on stage. A netizen even commented, "It might be understandable if it was during rehearsal, but she's so careless when fans are watching right in front of her. What is she thinking? Isn't it normal for you to work harder if the fans are watching? She has changed." Assumptions started popping up left and right, some accusing her of letting fame and YG's favoritism get to her head, and others said that she was feeling too depressed to perform. Jennie is only human after all, so she went into hiding for the sake of her mental health. She only came back on her birthday to apologize to the fans and thank them for their support, saying, "There are so many times when I feel sorry for being lacking, and those are times that I strengthen my resolve to work towards being a more reliable Jendugi. Thank you for waiting for me and believing in me." Then the truth came out, and surprise, surprise, it wasn't Jennie's fault. Turns out that she suffered an ankle injury after Blackpink's performance at Inkigayo that made it difficult for her to walk, let alone perform. The fans trended the hashtag apologize to Jennie, but it didn't really help. Target of media. Most recently, we need to discuss how Jennie takes the heat for every single dating rumor or confirmed relationship she was involved in. When Jennie's and Kai's relationship was exposed, even though most people were accepting of the two, Jennie still got hate for dating Kai. Then she also got involved in dating rumors with G-Dragon, which were never confirmed. Yet people shamed her for changing guys like underwear and dating only men from big groups. However, none of them were half as bad as when the rumors about her relationship with BTS's Taehyung started coming out. Before this, Taehyung had accidentally followed Jennie, surprising everyone as they had never interacted before. Poor Jennie was probably asleep when this happened, yet her Instagram was flooded with hate comments which were calling her vile names and saying that she had seduced Taehyung into following her, whatever that means. Even now with the rumors, every news and claim about this potential relationship revolves around Jennie. It's her that supposedly cheated on G-Dragon with Taehyung, making the two fight. It's her that was putting Jimin in a difficult position by dating two of his friends. It was her that was dating one guy after the other. It's disgusting that netizens have made her a punching bag for every situation, not considering that she's a real person with feelings and not the evil person that only exists for them to express their frustrations to. Jennie is someone who minds her own business and only does her own thing, yet just because people are jealous of her, she has become the target of all criticism and hate. In conclusion, I'm going to need all Jennie aunties to stay far away from her as possible. She only deserves love and respect.
But few artists have faced as much heat and kept going as Yena. Aside from her controversial personal relationships, Yena's career has been riddled with scandals of many kinds. Most of Yena's earlier controversies had to do with her mature image rather than anything related to her personal life. But instead of people being disturbed that this image was pushed on her ever since she was a teenager, they criticized her endlessly for it. Yena first debuted with Wonder Girls in May of 2006 when the group released their song Irony, but since she was only 14, you would think she would be given age-appropriate outfits. That wasn't the case whatsoever. She was given extremely short skirts and shorts and was made to perform an inappropriate choreography at the group's debut showcase. She was part of the group for just a short while before her parents decided to take her out because they were worried about her health. Just a year later, she debuted with 4 Minute as a member. The group had a very energetic girl crush concept without being overly provocative, but as time passed, their music videos started putting more spotlight on Yena, not just during her singing or dancing moments. In the video for Mirror Mirror, one of her moves from the choreography was was censored and banned from most live performances due to its very inappropriate nature. Because of how much Cube was focused on Yena, it was normal that she became the most famous member of the group, so her solo debut was met with instant success. However, due to the image Cube and previously JYP Entertainment was pushing on her, she was also met with a lot of backlash. Change, the song she debuted with, also faced a ban because it was considered too inappropriate for broadcast. This made no sense since the choreography was similar to what Yena was already doing in 4 minutes music videos, but it seems like everything became a bit too much for the Korean audience, leading to the first controversy surrounding Yuna's image. Netizens also had problems in the past with her outfits, complaining that they were too short for her age even if she had safety shorts under them. Since technically all publicity was good publicity, the rightful criticism against her outfits wasn't taken into account whatsoever. In fact, fans noticed the company putting more emphasis on her looks rather than her talents as she focused more on her solo career. For example, when she and Hyunsung debuted with Troublemaker as a duo, she was sent to perform on stage in extremely short skirts and dresses paired with high heels, which significantly limited her movement. The Troublemaker era was very controversial in general, as everyone had opposition to the racy choreography, which had the members touching each other and making a lot of contact on stage. The other songs she released as a soloist, like Bubble Pop and Ice Cream, only furthered her provocative image and got even more backlash as she was continuously pushing what was acceptable for TV and teenage audiences. During the Bubble Pop era, Yena was criticized for appearing too dark and resembling a foreigner. She got even more backlash for her dancing, which led to another ban. This is an image that followed her throughout her career and an image that led to her being considered too controversial up until this day. However, one thing about Yena was that she didn't care. She couldn't do anything about her exploitation when she was a child, but she fully embraced her appearance when she grew up. Sure, she would get a lot of hate comments calling her all sorts of derogatory names, but she made the criticism part of her brand, and neither the public nor Yena appeared to be affected by it anymore. So the controversies she was involved in due to her image, outfits, or choreographies didn't impact her career as much as other things she did. One of the most talked about aspects of her career was definitely her love life. She had a few rumors about who she was dating back in the day, but none of them were ever confirmed. The first time she had a confirmed relationship was with Dawn, a former member of Pentagon and fellow member of Triple H. There were already rumors brewing about the nature of their relationship early on, as their performances showed that they had a lot of chemistry, but that was all they were at the time, just rumors, until it was officially confirmed in 2018. According to Yena, the two had been dating ever since 2016 after she confessed her feelings to him. Dawn said, "I knew when she said she would wait that she meant she would hold things off until I'm ready to date her once I debut and build my career, but I was already ready. I didn't want to waste the time." They kept things on the down low until a media outlet came out with a report that the two were dating. You know how the rest of the story went. Cube Entertainment was quick to deny the rumors, and Yena took things into her own hands and released a statement to confirm that the two were in a relationship. Cube then terminated both of their contracts, saying that they had betrayed the company's trust, and Dawn and Yena were free to date all they wanted. However, there were a few problems with their relationship. The first was that the two weren't technically equals. Yena was indeed older than him, but was also his senior in the music industry by 9 years. While this wasn't a big deal since Dawn was an adult and the relationship was completely consensual, deciding to come forward and confirm their relationship did a lot more damage to him than Yena. They were both dropped from the company, but Yena already had an established career, had a lot of money in her bank account, and a strong fan base, while Dawn went from being one of the most popular members of Pentagon to only Yuna's boyfriend and struggled to make a name for himself. At the time, wherever Yena would have decided to go, she could have had the career she wanted while Dawn didn't have the same luxury. When the two joined P Nation, it was said that the company only took Dawn in because they knew that it was the only way to sign Yena. He left a rising group where he was really valued as a rapper and songwriter to enter a company where every single one of his musical releases was tied to his girlfriend. You can't really blame Yena for the outcome, but it wasn't fair for Dawn. Before they were kicked out from Cube, the company was aware of the two dating and might have been waiting for a better time to announce it, which would mean that both Yena and Dawn would have been able to continue their careers without a hitch. It wouldn't be the first time that Yena would defy her agency and announce her relationships on her own, but we will get to that later. There was also a specific situation that made the public view Yena in a different light. You remember that performance where Dawn takes off his shirt during a performance, right? It was seen as a funny, steamy moment before Dawn actually revealed the truth. According to him, he didn't want to take his shirt off, but Yena insisted on it and continued to pressure him to take it off despite him not feeling comfortable doing so in front of an audience. He said, "I actually said no, I said I wasn't going to do it, that I wasn't going to take my shirt off because Yena kept telling me to do it, I didn't want to, so Yena got the dancers to take my shirt off me." This was far from a normal situation, as she literally disregarded his wish and pretty much put him on the spot and forced him to undress in front of a live audience. Just because she is comfortable taking off her shirt does not mean that everyone else is. This moment alone made many fans raise their eyebrows as it started a speculation that Dawn had very little control over their relationship and what was happening between them. Now let's move on to one of the many issues of former Highlight member Junyoung, whom Hyuna started to date only recently. Except for the Burning Sun controversy tied to his name, he and Hyuna used to be very close from very early on in her career. They have been close friends ever since 2009, when Hyuna debuted with 4 Minute and Junhyung debuted with Beast. They were so close actually that their flirty performances led to people thinking that the two were dating. It was never confirmed, but it was widely believed so, which is why everyone was confused when Hyuna said that she had been dating Dawn in 2016 because she and Junhyung were heavily flirting in an episode of Happy Together, once again starting rumors that they were dating. So if he and Hyuna were flirting so publicly, did that mean that Hyuna was dismissing her relationship with Dawn? Since we don't know the exact date Dawn and Hyuna started dating, we don't know whether she was in a relationship or not at the time that she and Junyoung filmed the Happy Together episode, but it still seemed iffy to many people. She was also involved in some minor controversies, like wearing a controversial backpack and cultural appropriation, but they were forgotten pretty quickly. In November of 2022, the relationship between her and Dawn ended, and even though there were many rumors that they got back together, both of them clarified that they were just good friends. Then, a year after their split, Hyuna supposedly started dating Junhyung, leading to the biggest controversy of her career. The couple were seen on a flight to the US in November of 2023, as well as at a restaurant, but Hyuna didn't go public with their relationship until January 18th, 2024. Once again, this was done without notifying her company, but when she revealed her relationship with Junhyung, it didn't get the same response as when she said she was dating Dawn. The reason why is that her current boyfriend had admitted to watching a video taken and shared without a woman's consent and making inappropriate comments about it. The video in question was shared by none other than Jung Junyoung, who was heavily involved in the Burning Sun scandal, and Junyoung was very aware that the video was shared without the woman's consent and that Junyoung had a habit of doing this. However, he never reported it and only admitted to knowing about this after the media started linking his name to the Golden Phone scandal and saying that he was a part of the chat room. This is also why he left his group Beast, at the time known as Highlight, and went into hiding until his controversy simmered down. But even though he wasn't a part of the infamous chat room of the Burning Sun scandal, he was still shunned by the public for not reporting anything and for watching the video. So for Hyuna, someone who was widely beloved by the public, to date someone who didn't care about women being harmed and violated came as a shock to everyone. Considering everything, it's not surprising that she didn't let her company know about this. Usually idols inform their agencies of their relationships because if the news comes out, then the agency can be prepared if something goes wrong. Hyuna was aware that announcing that she was dating Junhyung would be a PR nightmare and her company would never approve of it, so she did it herself. At Arena, her current label, has only said that they can't comment on the situation as it's her personal life, but we can assume that the situation has strained the relationship between them. On top of that, this is the second time that she went behind her company's back and announced such big news to the public without letting the company prepare for a potential scandal. In addition to her fans and the public denouncing her, Hyuna's friends have also started cutting ties with her. It was said that EXID's Hani and 2AM's Jo Kwon stopped following Hyuna after the post was made, but according to Hani's own fans, she had unfollowed Hyuna months before this. As for Jo Kwon, he quickly clarified that their friendship remained strong and even liked the picture Hyuna posted with Junhyung to emphasize their friendship. To add to the surprises, fans were shocked when they discovered that Miss A's Jia had also unfollowed Hyuna. Given their close friendship, this move suggested that Hyuna's reputation has taken a hit that she will most likely never recover from. Hyuna has tried acting like she doesn't care about the backlash by making a post after announcing her relationship, but then deleted it when the comments were swarmed with disapproving people. She has lost hundreds of thousands of followers since then, and we can safely say that unlike her other controversies mentioned here, it will be hard for her to get her career back on track as many fans swore to boycott her next comeback. The whole situation is still a hot topic and Hyuna still hasn't addressed it, but no matter what she does or says, it will be difficult to become relevant again. But while Hyuna's been fighting through public judgment for years, a new name is sparking fresh concern. Eunice's Jelly has been all over TikTok's For You pages recently, but mostly for negative reasons, as she's been the target of a disturbing hate train. But why is Jelly getting so much hate in the first place? And why should we be worried about this troubling trend of negativity toward young female idols? Born on August 19th, 2007 in Las Piñas, Philippines, Jelly started her career in the entertainment industry pretty young, which as you'll soon see has had very bad consequences. consequences. Ever since she was 12 years old, she has participated in pageants and won multiple awards and sashes. The Philippines is known for its intense passion for beauty pageants, and over the past decade, the country has won 9 international titles, sparking a wave of beauty contests and aspiring contestants. That's why Jelly's involvement and success in these pageants is such a big deal and says a lot about how gorgeous she is, and also confirms her insane star potential. On top of her early success, she also worked as a fashion model and an ambassador for local skincare, fashion, and floral brands like Ortiz Skin Clinic, The Lacrime, Michaela, and Aspire magazine Global World. It's not known how Jelly made the decision to become an idol, but she traveled from the Philippines to South Korea to take part in SBS's survival show Universe Ticket. To explain the basic concept of the show, Universe Ticket showcases 82 contestants who compete in different challenges to win a spot in a K-pop girl group. The goal was to select 8 finalists to be part of a project group, which is supposed to be active for 2.5 years. From the start, the show faced numerous issues that led to a decline in viewers' interest and overall enthusiasm. Some bad performances went viral, and there were accusations of discrimination by the producers, along with allegations of evil editing that made some performances seem worse than they actually were. There were also complaints about the voting and ranking system, with a commenter writing, "The judging and ranking criteria are not transparent, so people are just blindly voting with no idea whether or not it matters. What really matters is Jelly's journey throughout the episodes and how she managed to climb through the ranks. She began in a low rank but climbed to the upper class, proving her talent and dedication. At the end, she was promoted to become the 4th member of Unis, the girl group that was formed through the show. While the show was airing, Jelly managed to win the hearts of the viewers and the public alike with her impressive looks, talent, and charisma. Even though she faced some tough challenges and had a few disappointing rankings, her hard work and growth allowed her to improve her skills, especially her dancing. Plus, her fellow contestants and group members absolutely adore her. But even though everyone is obviously very fond of her and has nothing bad to say about her, people still find ways to pick on her, and she became the target of malicious online posts that grew very disturbing over time. One moment included Jelly walking down the stage treating it like a runway because she used to be a pageant girl, and a catwalk was probably deeply rooted in her blood. Despite this, she received a lot of backlash for simply doing a silly joke, with people claiming she was too confident and full of herself. Despite everything, while the show was airing, Jelly realized very early on that the most important thing was the fact that fans, the judges, and the other contestants loved her and didn't let the criticism get to her in any way. She constantly recognized the parts she was flawed in and improved on them, never losing her kindness, drive, or confidence. Looking at her, you could tell that she was the ideal K-pop idol and that she was going to be a big star once the group found their footing. But sadly, instead of being appreciated, Jelly faced a troubling wave of hate from K-pop fans over the stupidest things possible, such as how she posed for the cameras or how she walked. The things piled up and it turned into a massive hate train after only a few days. It all started when Eunice made their first comeback with the single album Curious on August 6th. The catchy song and lively performances made the comeback stand out, drawing a lot of attention, especially to Jelly. But this attention had its drawbacks as it led to a lot of negative focus on her. To explain some context behind everything, there were a few videos of her posing for the cameras on the way to schedules which had millions of views on TikTok. In one of these viral videos, Jelly steps out of her car and strikes a pose as she walks toward the entrance, catching the camera's attention. The TikTok user who posted the video labels her as having main character syndrome, while many of the comments criticize her for being a pick-me girl and say she's trying too hard. All the negativity over a short clip of her waving and posing for pictures doesn't make much sense to many people, including us, yet for some reason, it's still happening. In a different viral video, the other Eunice members are seen walking to stand in a photo line while Jelly skips to get to her spot. Once again, there was nothing abnormal about her behavior, yet people berated her for apparently wanting to take up too much of people's attention. A few accused her of running just so she could be in the center, but this argument doesn't hold up since when the members line up for pictures, she's nowhere near the center. Even the way she looked around was labeled as her side-eyeing the other members, proving that people are reaching far and wide so they can find reasons to hate somebody who has done nothing to deserve the backlash. However, these people fail to realize how much these very unnecessary remarks and hate comments hurt the idols and affect not only their lives, but also their careers. Even the most harmless moments that everyone around Jelly, including reporters and her group, seemed to enjoy were criticized as pick-me behavior. In a video, she poses for the camera while reporters laughing and chatting excitedly point her out to each other. Knowing her background as a model and pageant girl, it's very easy to see why her first instinct when she sees cameras is to pose for the photographers. Even if she didn't work as a model, there's no logical reason why a 17-year-old girl should get several viral videos of people hating on her for posing and walking around. She's been compared to Wyongs, but not as a compliment. compliment. Instead, people are saying both she and Wyong acted like they were seeking attention at all times, even at the risk of overshadowing the other members. Looking at how people are using the word pick me to insult these very young and successful women makes it very obvious that they don't know what they're talking about. By definition, a pick me girl is someone who puts down other women to make herself look better and more special, hoping to attract attention from men. Given this, it's confusing why doing something like eating a strawberry or posing for the camera is now being labeled as pick-me behavior. Neither Jelly nor Wyong can be labeled as such girls because they're just doing their job and are great at it. As the negativity toward her grew, people began searching for more clips to label her as cringe. One of these clips included a moment that 4 of the Universe Ticket girls had with Sejong, who served as a mentor on the show. At some point, Jelly asks Sejong how she manages to dance and sing at the same time, as she found it a bit hard to control her breathing. Since Sejong gave her answer in Korean, Jelly, who isn't fluent in the language yet, found it hard to understand her, so she couldn't help but look a bit puzzled. A TikTok user apparently found this funny and posted the clip with the text, "I think Sejong wants help." The video managed to get more than 1 million likes and tens and thousands of comments, with some people saying that the clip looked straight out of a psychological thriller. A commenter wrote, "Sejong looks so scared I'm giggling." There were even some that even accused her of faking her signature sleepy eyes for attention. In many viral videos, Jelly's eyes look droopy, but some people claim she's making them look like that on purpose to seem more interesting. This is yet another false claim because if you were to look at her pre-debut pictures, you would see that her eyes look exactly the same. But it has been proven that these people don't really care about facts or even logic because the hate against her didn't falter in the slightest. It actually became so bad that her mother had to step in and speak up. On her Twitter account, which she mostly uses to support Jelly and the group, Jelly's mom has shared several posts in support of her daughter. She also posted a message of her own saying, "Even if you keep the hate coming, she will remain to be the unbothered princess. She was raised to be strong, and nothing that you will say against her would put her down." What's more, even her Filipino fans think the hate is way too much, and sometimes the comments make you question whether this isn't happening because she's from the Philippines and not from Korea. It wouldn't be the first time that netizens attacked non-Korean idols. Jelly's case is nothing else but jobless social media users finding another young girl to pile on. It has happened to Wyong, Blackpink's Jennie, ITZY's Yena, and now Jelly, and unfortunately, it's going to happen to a lot of other women who quote-unquote dare to be more confident than netizens would like them to be. It's disappointing to see this keep happening, especially to younger and younger women each time, and it's upsetting that Jelly can't even go about her life without being insulted and called names. But Ayeon's story shows how pressure, mystery, and misunderstanding can collide. Baby Monster's Ayeon is said to be one of the 5th-generation It girls, but beside her phenomenal stage presence and talent, her true self is veiled in a mystery. Ayeon was born on April 11, 2007 in Gangwon Province. She showed that she was very skilled from her early childhood as she learned 2 languages before turning 10. She started learning English when she was only 5 and Chinese when she was 7. Her parents urged her to memorize the lines of English animated movies, which is when she started getting interested in learning languages. Not only that, but she had been interested in dancing for quite a while, which led to her becoming a stellar student at the Aura Dance Academy. This in turn has obviously helped her become one of the best dancers of her generation. It must have been during this time that she got the idea to become an idol because she auditioned for Banana Culture in 2017 and passed the first round of auditions with flying colors. She also passed the auditions for JYP Entertainment, but we're not surprised whatsoever, especially knowing how talented she is. What company wouldn't want to have her as an idol, right? In the end, she decided to go to YG and became a trainee in the company in 2018. Since she was only 11 at the time, YG couldn't really debut her, so she trained for 5 years before making her appearance in the survival show Last Evaluation. However, she got attention from netizens before the show even started due to her outstanding visuals. Her graduation pictures ended up going viral, and people compared her to different idols like LE SSERAFIM's Yoonjin and Garam, C-Star's Boram, and most importantly, Blackpink's Jennie. But even though netizens knew very little about her, a lot of them assumed that she would be the center of the group as she had that certain energy and aura about her, the thing that we usually call as the it factor. They were proven right not long after Last Evaluation started airing in March of 2023. The show was actually filmed the year prior and was launched with the intention of choosing the members for YG Entertainment's newest girl group. Ayeon stood out from her very first appearance in her introductory video. The video began with footage from her audition for YG where she sang Lenka's The Show, followed by a clip from her first monthly evaluation. It was obvious that she was meant to be a superstar from the beginning, she had honey-like vocals and was simply adorable, managing to grab the hearts of the viewers as well as the judges. The clip was even more impressive when Ayeon disclosed that she had only 2 weeks to prepare for her evaluation. While Yang Hyun-suk loved her performance, he had some notes on her facial expressions, but she improved a lot over time. Dance trainer Lee Jung, who worked closely with the members, saw the insane potential Ayeon had as she said, "She's the one that best understands what I mean by control. That's why it's best balanced when she stands in the center. I think I can say she's the best for the center position." Ayeon was also the one that Lee Jung took as an example for the other girls to follow, as she believed that her facial expressions and strength control were the best among all the trainees. The video also showed Ayeon's journey as she kept improving with every evaluation performance until Yang Hyun-suk couldn't help but praise her. After watching her performing Shawn Mendes and Justin Bieber's hit song Monster, he stated, "She's like a warrior that has many weapons. I always think it's so difficult to have it all like her whenever I see her." In the very first episode of Last Evaluation, the girls were divided into 2 teams. The first group, which Ayeon was a part of, performed Rosé's Gone, while the other tackled Blackpink's Stay and were evaluated by none other than Blackpink's Jennie. Ayeon was entrusted with the toughest section of the chorus in Gone, which had Jennie praise her a lot. She told her, "I can see you have the most talent among the members. Your expressions are good too. I think your vocals will improve a lot." At her last evaluation, Yang Hyun-suk kept expressing just how talented he thought she was, and to no one's surprise, she was also his first pick for the group. He still kept repeating how great she was at everything, even saying she could be a leader because of her skills. The fact that the founder of the company thought so highly of her had fans excited to see her at her full potential. After the show finished airing though, Ayeon got into her first scandal. A video of hers performing at Hanlim Arts High School resurfaced in May of 2023, in which she can be heard rapping to Nicki Minaj's Feeling Myself. The performance itself wasn't the issue, as Ayeon was heard saying the N-word a couple of times. Knowing that she started studying English when she was 5, netizens assumed that she knew the meaning of the word and still decided that it was okay to say it. A Reddit user commented, "Why is it always those idols who are fluent in English, like I'm sure they know exactly what it means?" Some excused her actions by saying that she was only 15 when the performance took place, but others argued that she was old enough to know what she was doing. Thankfully, the scandal didn't diminish the public's enthusiasm to watch her perform on stage alongside her members. But only 2 months prior to the group's debut, fans started suspecting that something had happened to Ayeon. These suspicions arose when the members went to Blackpink's Born Pink World Tour finale concert, and fans noticed that Ayeon was missing. Then they also realized that they hadn't seen her since July, leading to suspicions that she might have left the group altogether. Following these concerns, YG announced that the group's debut would be delayed to improve quality, which led to people suspecting that the company had pushed the debut date to re-record the songs without Ayeon. Making things worse, the company then revealed a new logo without the number 7, and in the first teasers, there were only 6 lockers. It didn't help that the company refused to address the allegations, and knowing their history, fans suspected that they were lying about Ayeon's situation to keep stockholders and fans interested. The rumors then went wild, as some said that Ayeon had gotten plastic surgery, others said that she had gotten into a dating scandal and the company kicked her out, while a few said that she had joined Cube Entertainment after YG kept delaying the group's debut. So even though YG had stayed relatively silent on this, they had no choice but to come out and say that she would not be debuting with the rest of the members due to health reasons. However, this didn't clarify much, as people still didn't know if Ayeon would stay with YG Entertainment and if the company would include her in Baby Monster after debuting the other 6 members. Not only that, but there were still suspicions that YG was lying to get the public to support the group's debut, with the idea that Ayeon would be coming back. She did end up coming back, as in January of this year, the company shared that Ayeon would join the group for the release of their first mini-album. For the worried fans, they also mentioned that Baby Monster would be re-recording their first 2 singles, Batter Up and Stuck in the Middle, to include Ayeon. Furthermore, Yang Hyun-suk also announced that Baby Monster would be dropping a full-length album later in 2024, and well, the 2 announcements made fans very happy. Finally, there was confirmation that Ayeon was returning, and the company was doing their best to include her even in the songs that she hadn't recorded. Baby Monster, the group's first mini-album, and its title track Sheesh weren't received all that well, but there was no denying that the girls were immensely talented. In fact, it was their performances that managed to completely overturn public opinion, because it didn't matter if they liked the songs or not, as the performances made them look at the members from a different perspective. People started to recognize that Baby Monster weren't just idols, but truly performers at heart. Ayeon especially got a lot of attention from the general public, and you didn't have to think too hard on the reason why. She looked gorgeous, and she commanded her stage like she had been an idol for several years. The group's live performances also led a lot of netizens netizens to have a higher opinion of them. The handheld microphones the members used made them look a lot more professional, and Yeon dazzled the audience by hitting all her high notes flawlessly. Not only that, but she also showed everyone just how much of an all-rounder she was as she nailed her rap parts and demonstrated that she was truly an amazing performer. One netizen put it the best, writing, "She's really born to be a center. Not many can pull that kind of charisma and facial expressions." It was also good to see that Yeon was gaining more confidence on stage because based on her own words, it seemed like the fact that she was about to debut took a toll on her mental health. In an interview that the group did, she said that she had a hard time mentally and she wanted to recover as fast as she could, but things didn't go her way. This made her feel upset and even sorry for the members, but they were just waiting until she came back so they could feel complete again. As the song rises on the charts and Yeon's fan cams and performances gain thousands of views daily, we hope YG sees this as a sign that the members deserve more songs to showcase their talents and create their own identity. It's crazy that they have all of these talented idols in their company and they're more focused on making them into Blackpink 2.0 rather than their own group. And if there's one case that shows how fast things can fall apart, it's this one.
From being the leader of a successful K-pop group to being shunned by the public, B.I. has been through it all. Now he's making another successful comeback, but his story is more than tragic. Controversial beginning. B.I., whose name is Kim Han-bin, was born in Gyeonggi-do in South Korea. He started his career pretty early on when he featured in and promoted with MC Mong for his single Indian Boy in 2009. Him and MC Mong would interact once again when B.I. appeared on the music video for the single Horror Show. He signed under YG Entertainment as a trainee in January of 2011, but he had other plans before debut. After he trained for 2 years, he took part in an Mnet survival show called Win, Who Was Next, but because his team didn't win, he went back to training under YG. That didn't mean that Win would be the last survival show he'd appear in, as he joined Mnet's Show Me the Money 3 with his then label mate Bobby. When he was still on the show, he released his first digital single called B.I., which is where he got the inspiration for his stage name. He wrote and co-produced the song with Choice 37, and B.I. was the very first single that came out from the show to top the charts. Mind you, he was only 17 and a trainee at the time, so this is more than impressive. Everything seemed to be going great for him, at least for some time. In September of 2014, Team B, which was the team B.I. was a part of, would compete on the survival program Mix and Match. This is the show that resulted in Team B debuting as a group under the name iKON, but just because he debuted, it didn't mean that B.I. wouldn't keep doing his thing. In October, he featured in Epic High's Born Hater. Unfortunately, his career started with scandals, and the funny thing is, they weren't his own scandals. On November 10th, 2014, B.I.'s father, Kim Jong-do, was arrested on accusations of embezzlement. His father used to be the former CEO of Sunghwa Free Tech and appeared on trial on accusations of embezzling nearly $2.4 million worth of funds. But even though B.I. had nothing to do with this, netizens still wanted him to take responsibility for his father's actions. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either. A netizen wrote, "Sure, he didn't do anything directly involved with the case, but why do you think Han Hyo-ju gets hate? Why do you think descendants of war criminals get hate? Did they just compare war crimes with embezzlement?" They also asked YG to kick him out of the group, but thankfully their suggestions weren't taken into consideration. B.I.'s and iKON's careers continued without a hitch for some time, but this all went downhill in June of 2020 when B.I. got accused of some very serious stuff. Horrible scandal. In June 2020, iKON fans woke up to the news of B.I. getting accused of buying and using illegal substances. Dispatch released an exclusive report which contained screenshots of KakaoTalk messages which were exchanged between B.I. and his dealer in April of 2019. In these screenshots, B.I. can be seen attempting to purchase something from his dealer. To make things worse, he even ordered it in bulk and asked for a discount because of it. He also asked for the dealer to delete the chats in case they got caught by the authorities. While celebrities using these kinds of substances will always be frowned upon, Western celebrities don't get half of the backlash that Korean ones get. So when I say that the general public was ruthless to him, I mean it. The public literally wanted B.I. to rot in hell for doing this. YG Entertainment first denied the claims made by Dispatch when they were asked for a statement. They said that B.I. had absolutely no relations to this case. Not only that, but they also said that all iKON members got tested for usage of such substances and they were all sober, which only set him up because the truth was much different than what they claimed. On June 12th, despite YG's initial refusal of the claims, B.I. confirmed the report himself as he posted an apology on Instagram and explained the reasoning behind his purchase in 2019. He wrote, "It is is true that I had previously wanted to rely on things that I should not have even had interest in because I was having such a difficult and rough time, but I was not even able to do it because I was afraid. He then apologized to his fans and band members and announced his withdrawal from iKON. BI said, "Nevertheless, I am extremely embarrassed and sorry towards all of our fans and our members who are deeply disappointed and hurt by my wrong words and actions. I will humbly reflect upon my wrongdoings and withdraw from the team." His career went to shambles after that, and it seemed like there was no turning back. Right after the scandal, variety shows edited him out of the final footage of the episodes he appeared in. He was also banned from Chinese social media platforms such as Weibo and Douyin, and all of his content on Xiaohongshu vanished like he never existed. The first trial for his case was held in August of 2021, where prosecution asked the court to sentence BI to 3 years in prison and a fine of 1.5 million Korean won. In the end, he was sentenced to 4 years of probation, had to complete 80 hours of community service, a total of 40 hours of medical treatment, and had to pay the 1.5 million Korean won fine. This is where he got the public to sympathize with him. Netizens said that the punishment was way too harsh for a case like this. They were even shocked that he got a longer sentence than Seungri. A netizen commented, "I mean, I get that he's in the wrong, but I feel bad for him because I feel like it's unnecessary for him to be ridiculed to this point and to be sentenced to something harsher than people who are truly deserving of harsher sentences. He was 20 years old. He was really young. It's unfortunate that he had no one to turn to." Another said, "This Hyung got 3 years just for this, so why in the world did Seungri only get 3 years for all that he did?" But no matter how sympathetic they were, it didn't change the way the Korean public felt about illegal substances. It seemed impossible for BI to ever come back from this, let alone be successful. Yes, BI wasn't the first, nor is he going to be the last idol who gets involved in a scandal of this nature, but other idols who went through similar controversies like T.O.P. and G-Dragon were famous and loved enough in Korea to only get a slap on the wrist for their actions. But nothing is impossible for a man with BI's talents because he didn't let this crash him down. Powerful comeback. Despite the fact that the Korean public wanted him gone, he still went on to work on music on the down low. He wrote and composed 4 of the 5 songs on iKON's mini album, I Decide, including the title track. In September of 2020, he was appointed as the executive director of IOK Company, and then he went on to feature on Epic High's acceptance speech. In March 2021, he came back to the industry with a charity single album titled Midnight Blue Love Streaming, which contained already released songs as demos that BI had previously uploaded on his SoundCloud. He then released a global single, Got It Like That, which featured Destiny Rogers and Tyla Yahweh, and even a full album called Waterfall. The music video for the title track Illa Illa became the most viewed K-pop male solo within the first 24 hours. He really made sure to leave a mark in the industry. He also worked with Ihai on her song Savior, which she got tons of backlash for, but she stood up for him as a good friend does. The public crucified her for willingly being around him and working with what they considered a criminal, but their friendship was strong enough to not be wavered by these comments. Not only that, but he became the first K-pop or Asian act to participate in a performance series made by the Recording Academy called Grammy Global Spin. In February of 2022, he signed with the American agency Wasserman, which is home to artists like Coldplay, Ed Sheeran, Imagine Dragons, and Skrillex. Then he announced that he would be participating in releasing his 2022 global album project titled Love or Loved. This meant that he would finally make a comeback with a pre-release single and not one but 2 EPs. The pre-release single BTBT dropped on May 12th, and it was everything we had wished for and more. Not only was the song produced by the 3 times Grammy winners The Stereotypes, but it featured Davida and none other than Soulja Boy. Yes, that Soulja Boy. The comeback was welcomed by fans and casual listeners alike, as it was beyond successful, and it has a whole concept on its own. BTBT managed to debut at number 11 on the worldwide iTunes song chart. It also topped the iTunes top song charts in 15 countries like Argentina, Colombia, Thailand, Turkey, and Vietnam as of May 14th. As for Korean charts, the song is doing pretty well considering what he went through. The song charted on Melon's Song with many likes at number 5, and in their dance genre chart, they reached number 4. In their latest 24 hits charts, BTBT charted at number 33. Nevertheless, everyone was happy to see him doing what he loved the most, and that's performing. Even if his scandal nearly ruined his career, he came back stronger than ever and is destroying charts left and right. He deserves nothing but the best, and I hope we'll see him prove everyone who wanted him gone wrong. What are your thoughts on this? Share them in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye!